It is started, sir.
Good evening, everyone. Greetings from ISDC. It is the International Skills Development Center. We are going to start our seminar on artificial intelligence in
Good evening,
Industrial
sir.
Revolution. We are waiting for our audience to join in. Maybe in a few minutes, we will start. Thank you for your patience. All right, I think we'll start now our seminar tonight on artificial intelligence in Industrial Revolution. Before we start the seminar, a brief introduction about ISDC, that is International Skills Development Center. International Skills Development Center, or ISDC, was established to provide a quality training and upskills the qualifications from an international standard. With their vision, this vision keep in mind, today we have invited our guest of speaker. Today our guest of speaker is Mr. Tinaharan Ramachandran. Mr. Tinaharan is a professional qualified electronics engineer and Industry 4.0 technical expert. He has contributed in the research and development industries for more than a decade. He also lectured in few private universities as a senior and visiting lecturer, and now serving as a technical expert in Hanya, Malaysia, to train technical and engineers, and also to architect smart factory solutions. He has also published research paper in conference, journals, book chapters in the field of embedded system and artificial intelligence. He is also the technical reviewer of research paper for Elsevier Engineering and competing journals. So with no further delay, I would like to invite Mr. Tinaharan. Mr. Tinaharan, it's over to you.
Right, thank you, Mr. Suhail. So, very good evening to all the participants. And today we're going to look at a very short seminar on artificial intelligence in industry revolution. So, Mr. Suhail has already briefed a little about myself. So I just have to give you some summary, just a small summary about myself. Right. I'm something that very simple to say about myself is I do consulting work for few companies, and also I do give training for the industry 4.0 activity, as well as for mechatronics engineering in German companies, and also as an industry mentor for RMIT University in Australia. And of course, teaching comes together with all my professions that I'm involving in, right? And let me just give you some little house rule. So if you, while we are going through these slides, if you have any question, you can actually raise and you can ask the question. if you have any doubts. But I do prefer that once we have completed the entire slides that I supposed to present, then you can actually raise some question, then I'm willing to answer. Okay, so let's go on with today's topic. And the contents of today's topic will be industrialization and industry 4.0. Okay, so of course the topic is about artificial intelligence in industry revolution. So when you talk about industry revolution, we have to understand first what is the industrialization activity has happened throughout that certain timeline. Okay, and then we will look at what is mean by industry 4.0. What is the framework of industry 4.0? And we will look at certain reality, what reality has been achieved so far in industry 4.0, who are the participants, who are the active working members, right? And then we will see a small difference about what is AI and robots are. And we will look into some types of machine learning, which is part of the intelligence system. So we will look at certain types of machine learning alone, not all, but few. And also the last one will be on how we apply machine learning to certain problem. So this is what the activity of today's seminar is going to be, right? So this slides shows you the timeline of how the industrialization has taken place in this world. Now we started with industrialization in the 18th century. And at the beginning of 18th century, the entire manufacturing plant uses only the hydropower as well as the steam power in order to um, do the industrialization. Okay, then when it moves down to beginning of 20th century, then the first assembly line were established with using electrical supply or electrical energy. So you can see from the timeline chart, the first time was 18th century. So 18th century, we were using only hydro and steam power. And on the 20th century onwards, we started to use the electrical energy. And the beginning of 1970s, that's the time when semiconductors was introduced. And we have a lot of electronic devices. And also we have small computer systems from IBM and all. And we have introduced certain automation using PLC controller. And that's where the automation started to take place in industry. When was that? In 1970 onwards. And today you can see that even though we have a lot of sophisticated devices, but we still have to change over the time the industry outlook. So it cannot be the same as what the practice was back in 1970. So now we are looking at the fourth revolution, and the fourth revolution is where we want machines to behave by itself. That means machine to work by itself without the presence of human beings to control. So this is the expectation on industry 4.0 revolution. Now I have put a small question mark sign in these slides. So what does that means is what is going to be the next. So we all know that the fourth industry revolution is now and is happening today. But what is going to happen later on? So we call it as industry fifth revolution. So in industry fifth revolution is where humankind has to go in back to the industry solution, but as an expert. So when you look from this particular chart, the demand, the job demand is changing rapidly from every year, from year to year. You can see there's a lot of changes happening where job demand is also changing at the same time. And we have to acquire respective knowledge in order to fill up the gap where it is necessary. So we cannot use the conventional method anymore. We have to move forward by having or to acquire the respective knowledge and move forward in order to support the revolution. All right, so talking a little bit detail about Industry 4.0, it is found in Germany, all right? And the person who found it was Henning Kackman. He is a professor of a university, all right? And also the person in charge of this particular group of people are from factory, they have from a German companies. One of the key member here is from Bosch industry. So I think most of you know who is Robert Bosch is. So Bosch is well known throughout the world. They have a lot of factories, a lot of solution, what you call companies around the world. Okay, so this group of people who have come up with this ideology, that is, we have a lot of devices nowadays. Okay, when you look at types of devices, we have a very supercomputers, we have mobile application software, we have lots of controllers available, but they are not interacting to each other. So in Industry 4.0, the main idea was to bring all this technology together and make it to be integrated, and at the same time it contributes towards the productivity, okay, in the factory or the productivity in the manufacturing. Right, so this is the main key idea of this particular group of people have come up with Industry 4.0 framework. Right, so the motive of Industry 4.0 is basically help countries and business achieve sustainable growth. So what is meaning of sustainable growth? When you look at now, the time now is like we are facing with pandemic issues. Now, during the pandemic, many people could not go to work. So how exactly people can solve this problem? If we have a digitalization movement in the respective enterprise, then you can actually close the gap, even though the situation is not supportive enough for people to move forward or to do the daily job. But there is a technological solution is there to help us to achieve our target, our business productivity, and also our growth. So therefore, it will help in terms of sustainability growth. And the motive of Industry 4.0 is, as I said before, is more on integrating. So as I said, there are many technologies available in this world. So we are bringing them together. So why we are doing that? Because we want to have a faster design. So the moment we don't take years to make one design or one product to come out from the manufacturing plant, we try to make it much faster as possible. And also Industry 4.0 help us to create novelty products, right? So people will spend a lot of time in research and development, and they can have plenty of time. They work on it with a lot of integration tools they have. Sometimes certain environment, you can know that there are very few research labs available in certain factories, or sometimes, they don't have that facilities. But with this integrated technology, we can actually make one universal place where we can integrate all those equipments that's need for certain experiment with borrowing some kind of technology from a different counterparts. Through then we can quickly create a novelty product. So this is an opportunity for new products to kick in this world. And Industry 4.0 will provide some lesser risk. Now, of course, we can't say zero risk, okay, but what we can do is bring the risk level to zero. So how we can do that? If we have a good analytical tools, as what we're going to touch on later on, which is AI. So AI helps us in reducing the risk because we can able to predict earlier of any false or any kind of error which is taking place. We can actually make it, we can make a preventive action earlier. So therefore, you get lesser risk. Next is to reduce waste. Okay, so another factor of Industry 4.0 is that it will help us to establish the lean manufacturing system. That means called you don't waste product, so you reduce the waste. Okay, so these are all the uh, motive of having Industry 4.0. So from here, you can see that human involvement will be getting reduced. Okay, based on this framework, human involvement will reduce and more involvement takes place by the machines. And these machines has to be intelligent. That is what we're going to learn, and we have to develop and contribute in this particular industry gap at this present in time. Okay, so since growth is a vital objective of any industry, ultimate motive is to rush into the technologies. We have to rush to the new technology in order to solve this. Yeah. Now, let's go further in detail about the framework which all the respective members have designed it. So as you can see from the below, I put there as Industry 4.0 in manufacturing. So the first part that normally a company who is going to involve in Industry 4.0, or if they have to transform from the previous manufacturing system, which is probably Industry 3.0, they are now moving forward to Industry 4.0. What are the activities they're supposed to do? At the first place, they have to determine the digitalization objective. What are those objectives that you want to achieve? It is a long work. Okay, you know that it is quite a huge work to be done, but we have to prescribe the objectives. What are we looking at? See, like the company that I'm consulting now, what they do is that at first level of objective is to remove the utilization of papers. So we don't want to use any more papers. You don't want to print out any papers unnecessarily. So this is one of the objective that I can give you as a digitalization objective. And we have few other objectives that we can draft based on the company needs, because every manufacturing has a different method, different product people are manufacturing, different style, different way of equipments are placed in that respective company. So it is internally has to be drafted. Then they go into the options that you have. Okay, that is first thing is you can have an experiment simulation data. All right, you can connect equipment without disruption. So this is the framework that we are looking at. That means the moment you say your company has, or your manufacturing company has Industry 4.0, make sure the connection or the connected equipments have no disruption. So that is called, why, what is meaning of disruption is not to have any latency, no delay of sending the data to a central database system. Make operational changes based on data. So that means you have to make your changes in your decision, changes in certain machines behavior, changes in your product design based on data, not based by perception, or not based by any non-substantive information from the data set. Next, visualize manufacturing performance. You have to visualize, that means you have to get what is how your factory is performing. That means is your machine lead times, they call, talk about what downtime. Normally we will have machines who is not able to work actively because it could be under repair. So how fast it can get to be repaired? So normally we don't get this kind of data because we wait for the technicians to come in. They will do the repairing, all right, and no acknowledgement of the status of the particular machine is under repair is not been denoted. So what will happen is that, and when you talk about Industry 4.0, you can have a full perspective, a full view, a digitalized view about your entire factory. So we call this as a transparent activity, or transparently all the performance of your company will be available. Next is about experiment simulation data, as I said, because we want to have lesser risk. Because before you go and do something, you do rather have a simulated data or some experiment to support before you make one available. And scale and enable new scenarios. So this basically Industry 4.0 will give you a scalable kind of a new set of environment, a new um, strategy altogether to improve the productivity of your enterprise or manufacturing enterprise. Is there any question so far? Everybody okay?
We don't receive any question. I advise our audience, if any question arises, put in a chat box so we can direct to our speaker and he can answer that.
Okay, that's good. Right. Let's nice to have something which is bi-directional. Huh? That means we are communicating to each other. That would be very nice. Okay, but uh, I don't know whether is there any messages coming in. Is there no messages, right, Mr. Shoaib?
You carry on, no messages. Okay, carry on.
Okay. All right. Okay. Thank you. All right. Wait, huh? Okay. Next, I'll move on with. Let me see. Okay. Now, since we have looked into the entire framework and what are those information that we supposed to have in a industry 4.0, let's say a factory has industry 4 wants to move into industry 4.0, what are those framework they supposed to follow? And now we are going a little bit more in detail. Okay, that is we need 9 pillars, or they call the 9 components in industry 4.0. What are those 9 components? We must make sure that in order to achieve the framework, we must have system integration. Your system has to be integrated. The machines has to be integrated. Your finance department must be get integrated to the production floor. Okay, your HR must be able to integrate it to the finance, and HR must integrate it to the production people. So all these are, you must make sure the entire corporation is been in a form of integrated mode. And then we are using cloud as a database center, and we are depending on cloud because it has a huge capacity to support the system. And most of this industry 4.0 solution are built from with using cloud computing. You can you have heard about this Azure, Microsoft Azure cloud database, right? So you can, these are the simple platform people are using it. But usually in a bigger corporation like MNC companies, multinational companies, what we will do is that we will integrate to the SAP system. Okay, we don't depend on smaller little um, what do you call database system or DBMS. We will depend on SAP. Next is about autonomous robots. So today you can see if you walk into logistics centers, because when you talk about manufacturing companies, you will have internally, they will have the warehouse, they call warehouse or logistics center. And a lot of robotic systems are used in order to do product selection, product selection. Okay, and you also can use robotic to in order to assist the people in the production floor. Okay, then we need cyber security. What is cyber security? That means the information is being protected. Okay, make sure the informations are, the enterprise information is not be hacked by somebody. Yes, I have interruption.
Please mute your mic, all guests, all audiences. Mr.
Okay.
Tinaharan, there is a question from our
Uh-huh.
audiences. If you can give some example, that would be good. And second
Oh,
one, how can we make our industry visualize performance?
what is that? May I?
How can
Can
we
you
make
repeat the?
our industry visualize performance?
Okay. How we can make our industry um,
Visualize,
visualize the performance.
right?
Okay, now when you talk about product manufacturing, all right, when you look into certain companies, when they manufacture the product, they have a multiple line. Okay, we call these production lines. In the production line, the moment the product been manufactured, all right, yeah, most of the times we will come up with some product which is error, which is not properly done based on the requirement need. So what happens is that we can actually use data analytics method, okay, to throw all the respective items or from the beginning, from the beginning of the product manufacturing process. Because in manufacturing, there is process A, B, C until Z. So therefore, the process, every process need to be acknowledged. Every process need to be traced. So once you do the tracing at each process, at each section, then you get the data collection. You collect them collectively and you have the performance visualization. So when you talk about visualization here, it can be in terms of graphs. All right, it can be a predicted values. For example, today I manufactured about let's say 200 pieces of product. And today the performance in that particular area, what happened was 2-3 machines are down. They can't able to produce. So tomorrow, what will be the yields for tomorrow? Yields means what will be the product will be completed for tomorrow. It's not going to be 200 anymore. It's going to be lesser than that. So this is what we call the visualization. So that why it is happened, because there's a report been claimed that mission is down and they cannot be rectified by tonight. So therefore this is the factors which is what we call by visualization, and helps you to make decision. So the respective production managers can go back to their scheduling and they can make some changes in there, so that they can achieve, then they will make a resolution how to achieve the 200 target instead of bringing it low, right? Did I answer your question?
Yeah, I think go ahead. If any
All right.
other question, I will let you know.
Okay. Next, we talk about that's not the last we talk about was cybersecurity. And everybody aware of it today that every data need to be protected, need to be authenticated. All right. We call this as CIA, confidential, integrity, and authentication. So these are the three major factors that we have to do in cybersecurity. Next is about augmented reality. Now, it's good to have an augmented reality system in the manufacturing or even in any enterprises, so that we have to, before we go to the real solution or real values, it's good to have some augmented reality behavior to experience the reality of how if these things can happen in my life. For example, if I want to wear a shoe, okay, today people are selling products online. We have Lazada, we have Shopee, and all those platform. People are selling a lot of products. But do we have an option to choose? Let's say you need to buy a shoe. So do you can able to visually have any platform to test what is the size that you are wearing? Would it fit you? Will you look nicer with wearing that particular shoe? And this is what we call augmented reality. And this is all needs AI behind of it. And next one is Internet of Things, IoT. But in industry, we call as IIoT, Industrial Internet of Things. So Internet of Things are contributing quite a lot. And it's speculated that by 2025, a lot of industries will be integrated to Internet of Things. And Internet of Things, you all know that it is an embedded system, okay, which has been given a branding name nowadays. Today it's called IoT. Previously it was called embedded system, where we try to interface a lot of sensors, and then we try to read what is the data provided by the sensor. We get the value, we inspect the value, and we can able to trigger certain output. All right, so this is what IoT is all about. Additive manufacturing, you take it as a simple like a 3D printer. 3D printing is called additive manufacturing. Why? Because you want to have a mock-up. To have a mock-up of it, you are trying to use additive manufacturing. You try to use different materials in the manufacturing system. So therefore, you can experiment it by using some additive materials altogether. Simulation and visualization. So as I said earlier, like a scenario that I give you, 200 pieces was supposedly to be produced tomorrow, but due to unforeseen situation, right, it cannot be done. So where can we able to trace that? Because we have the simulation and visualization. The last part is the big data and analytics. You all have, if you are familiar with this, Power BI, Tableau, Amazon, all these are called the big data platforms. And what does this big data platform does is we collect lots of data in it. Okay, we take a lot of data in it, which sometimes can be relevant, sometimes may not be relevant to the analytics that we want to make. So we need a database, and we need a platform in order to do that. And that platform is what we call Power BI platform. We have Python is also can able to do analytics. All right, we can able to deploy lots of data in it and do some analytics work. All right, so let's move forward. So you can see the flags of countries in this particular slide, which shows about 25 different countries here. And in Southeast Asia, you can see Malaysia, Singapore, all right, and Japan is the only country being identified benefit standing as a position to benefit from Industry 4.0. So to say it, the truth is, yes, Malaysia is also moving. We already drafted the Industry 4.0 framework in year 2018. It was already been published. So it's just about if we never had this COVID situation, I think Industry 4.0 in Malaysia would have given a good leap. But because of this COVID pandemic, there's a slowdown in the deployment of Industry 4.0. Otherwise, it is most welcome. Okay, so we are expecting more countries to participate from Southeast Asia. Reason why? Because we don't have enough manpower. We don't have enough knowledgeable people in order to activate or to establish this kind of industry revolution. Okay. Now, those companies were successful in Industry 4.0 so far. We have seen Volkswagen, Festo, Siemens, okay, Bosch, of course, because they are the pioneer. And then we have GE, General Electric, right? All these are the companies. And furthermore, there's a few more companies from Germany already started to practice Industry 4, or they already been converting themselves from previous revolution to Industry 4.0 revolution, right? Now, this is about the what are those uh, conceptual that we can able to establish, or we can able to see from Industry 4.0. We will be started to use very competitive technology systems in our company altogether, or will be using it. Uh, we call technological based cooperation or technological based enterprises. Then difficult jobs can be substituted with automated machines. So you can see certain production like textile. I know that Bangladesh is famous for textile. So in textile companies, certain work or certain process in textile has to be done monotonously. You know what is monotonously? It means it's always the same job, repetitively done. And this can be converted, or this can be changed to place one automated system, or we can put our automated machines there. Obviously, you will reduce the human capacity, or you will reduce the human who works in that respective company. All right. But the good part is you see more productivity, because human beings have some difficultiness whereby they can't able to do difficult job. They can't do complex job. So therefore, the process of emissions has no doubt on that. Machines can able to take on to do heavy duty job, dirty job. All right. So therefore, what we want is we need an automated system to be established in the respective job area where humans are used quite a lot. Good visibility for the supply chain process. So we want to see the entire supply chain process as a good visibility, good what you call impression, so that you can able to rectify or improve. Okay, we normally will do continuous improvement projects, can be taken on based on the visibility of the supply chain process. Quick traceability of issues. This is what is very important, because normally issues are not known. Sometimes we are wondering what problem has occurred. So what we want is, we don't want to have that problem. So we have to go into a quick traceability. So we have to trace, we want it to be done automatically. Okay, so this is what we want in Industry 4.0. Then you can able to boost the efficiency, and we see the profitability end of the day. And we want transparent and also visibility of information to everybody. For example, if let's say you are in the finance, you're working for finance, you do not know what exactly is happening on the production floor. What kind of product has been manufactured? How many product is today is not properly manufactured? So all this data is only retained at the production floor. It doesn't comes up to the finance, or doesn't comes up to the HR, or doesn't comes up to other respective department. It only stays around the engineering area, or probably in the IT area. Okay, which we do not want that. We want it to be very much transparentable, and also visible to everybody. Digitalization transformation in the enterprise. So what will happen is that your enterprise will turn to be a digitalized enterprise. You'll be winning customer satisfaction. So your customer become happy. How they become happy? Because you can able to produce that product on time, or you can able to produce the product before the time or before the demand time comes in. All right. Quality is the business game. So therefore, you can look what is the quality. You can achieve higher quality in your business growth. So therefore, that will be your good factor in order to compete with other business partners. Comprehensive ERP, that means enterprise resource planning. You will have a very comprehended type of ERP system in the enterprises. And we have a real-time insights for quick and efficient decisions. So you will have something that all the information that you get is on a real-time basis. It comes with a timestamp, so that you know when this event happened and when we can rectify it, how to rectify it. So the information become very transparent. So this is what the industry is going to move on, right? And this is where we need to provide our expertise. So when you are getting into a job, you are expected to have this knowledge. So one of it is, the pillar for this is artificial intelligence and machine learning. So this is where it's going to help in order to make it all this come through. Yeah? Right. So let's look at a value of Industry 4.0 to smart manufacturing business. Okay. Especially as I said before already, that is a transparent to a logistic. So every product that been manufactured, every item that you have in the factory, okay, is all tagged. That means it's all given a tag, is given a label. So that for every label is been recorded and can be traced and can be readable and is visible. And today people use what? Barcode, RFID. Okay, all these are those technology that is individual technology, but we have to bring it together and integrate them. All right, to support the supply chain management. So what we do is that we leverage the supply chain management and for a faster delivery of the product, because or to have a cheaper service, because if you can able to manufacture or try to give a service in a very shorter period of time, you don't need to charge very expensive. You can do it in a very cheapest rate. So this is one way you boost and you get more customer. Okay, a better quality to gain over the less performing competitors. So this is where you can able to hit down all the competitors that you have. If the competitors today, they don't think about changing their mode of manufacturing or mode of the enterprise to digitalization, they are in the losing game. So this is we have to understand that very clearly. And for that, what we need is a predictive analytic tools. For why we need that? Because we have to make a quick and efficient decision, right? So, and it has to happen autonomously. Is that everything clear so far? All
Good.
right.
It's good. Yeah.
Okay. Let's
Yes,
go
sir.
on further. Now, talking about, since we already saw the requirement, the benefit, not the benefit, how it's going to help in the entire industry, we must learn how to know the part of the design. Okay, how are you going to design that? So it's not so difficult. It's about only a few model that we need. There's one is called decentralization. What is the meaning of decentralization? You all know what decentralization is. That means you bring all the data to one respective um, collection center, and from there you distribute as time need. But decentralization is not to have a decision is made there and there. That means, let's say I got a machine, the machine is spoiled, the machine could not able to obtain respective data or could not able to function properly, and this data has been captured. Then after that, okay, it's immediately sends a maybe a notification to the engineering team, or to, let's say, for example, maintenance team, to rectify the machine, not to have a human to go there and do it. All right. And this is basically all. You can have a machine to have an artificial intelligence unit. You can build into the machine. Whenever this error, okay, what you do, you slow down this process. We can tell the machine to slow down this process because some error is found in the trend. So this is what we call processing individually, individual processor. So therefore we call that as decentralization. You take the data, you process the data there, and you produce the output or reflective, the feedback there and there. So this is what we call decentralization. Interoperability, today we have many products, okay? We have many vendors, and we want them to work together because, as I said already, the industry 4.0 is about integrating quite number of technology. We want all kind of technology to be integrated together so that we kick on the productivity. So every product in be manufactured by different suppliers, different manufacturers, and we want them to integrate it and operate together. Let's say, for example, if you buy a barcode scanner, you need to use a barcode scanner for your work. But if you fix your barcode scanner to your laptop, all right, using USB port, okay, but you cannot able to connect to your barcode scanner, how do you feel? You feel frustrated. And this is what we call non-interoperability. This is not interoperability. Interoperability means the moment I buy any device, I connect to Microsoft or Windows system, it get connected. It can able to read the communication port. So therefore, this is called interoperability. It's a very simple way to explain about interoperability, right? Modularity, when we design a modularity because we don't go and design one whole gang of it. We try to do a chunks. We make it as a chunk and chunks. Why we do that? Because we want to have a small little chunk which can help you to integrate and make it as one big train, right? And service orientation, we have to have a kind of a system which can have a self-service orientation, or probably a service orientation has to be what we call escalated. That means sent over to someone. That means as information has to be quickly sent, okay, to a supportive technical team, whoever the person in charge, so that the problem can be resolved. The last part of the design work that you have to consider is about visualization. Whatever we do, make sure that it is visualized. What are those mode of visualization we have? Windows, we have mobile phones, we have tablets, and today you can see many manufacturing like in Bosch industry, what they do is that they are using tablets, okay, in order to monitor the, they call KPIs. They call KPIs means what is the rate of performance of each and every machines. It comes direct, it connected through wireless mode, and they can able to know the entire status of a certain machines. So this is what we call the visualizations of it, right? So let's move on further if there's no any question. So let's look at the benefit. Okay, what is the benefit of this industry 4.0? It produces a stronger team. You can't able to work individually because you are talking about integration here. Optimization. When you talk about optimization, that means you are trying to lift up the productivity. You try to utilize whatever technology that you have to the well-being of your productivity. Cost benefit, you spend at the beginning, of course, investment might be high, but over time, you'll find that there will be a cost benefit because the digitalization process doesn't demand for, like when you use too many human, you got to pay salary. But when you talk about digitalization, then you no need to have a manpower to do it. So you save on the salary packages, right? And you will not have a human factor problems. So this is where the humans sometimes, of course, this is maybe not a good news for human beings, but this is one way to produce better, knowledgeable group of working class people. All right. So in a way, we don't want what do you call cheap labors. Okay, we don't want to have cheap labors. We want to have attractive labors. So that's why I put there one column, one of the tag here called attractive. Your job will become very attractive. You need not need to go and dirty your hands anymore. The machines will do it, but you have to come up with some algorithms. You have to come up with a lot of ideas, a decision, support. Okay, so this is where the human factors or job factors is going to be in future. Customization, you can able to make it faster. Any customer wants a different change in their product. Okay, you can able to do it in a very fast time because you're using integrated system. Competitiveness, of course, you will be very successful company if you are transform your company to a digitalization mode where your competitors are still keep on, using the very conventional way of what you call manufacturing, and you can actually compete them and win the market. Pushing research, a lot of research will be taking place, because when you talk about this, we are going to talk about how to improve every time. Every now and then there must be improvement projects. So when you talk about improvement projects, you need to push the research. So research involvement is also being elevated when in the present days of Industry 4.0. You will come up with a very good potential solution. Okay, you will need lesser experiments. You just need to have few experiments, but you produce good results output. And you do a lot of collaborativeness. You can collaborate with the universities, you can collaborate with research centers separately. Okay, not necessary you have to do it everything by your own, because you can share and you can utilize, you can work together with the different laboratory centers to test, to produce, because we are working on interoperability system. Okay, now every good thing will have bad things, and today you have to know about the challenge. The challenges in Industry 4.0, one is security, because we are using cloud as our data storage system. And you all know about people can hack cloud data easily. But that is the reason German companies, they don't use cloud to store their data. Okay, they still depends on the servers, and as they still depends on the SAP system, right? Capital investment wise, okay, obviously, as I said before, the profitable only can be seen after some time. Something like solar, when you fix solar panels or solar systems in a certain in your house, at the beginning you have to spend a lot of money because the installation is too expensive. But over the time, you save more, because you save the electricity grid values than the one that's supplied by the solar, right? So similarly, the beginning initial investment capital will become high for Industry 4.0, but eventually will drop, right? So privacy wise, yes, because we are all talking about digitalization. So we have to come up with a lot of cyber security measure so that the privacy can be maintained. Um, and also the employment human, yes, this is the biggest challenge, because sooner or later we may not have operators, machine operators, people who works 24, 12 hours every day. They become like, they work in front of the machines. All right, we don't want to have that situation anymore. So we are going to substitute that to automatic machines. All the system machines going to behave by itself. So therefore, what will happen to the human employment? Human employment have to go further through that. That means you have to have more knowledge. The knowledge in or using these systems. Example like robot. You have to know how to program the robot for each and every customization. You need not need to be let the robot to do the dirty job. So humans need not need to do the dirty job anymore, right? Okay, so let's, if you understand clearly on challenges, we move on straight. Okay, let's talk about robot and AI. I think most of us have a confusion on this term. And when I usually go for my lecture, when I talk to my students, group of students, when I ask them what is different between robot and AI, they will sometimes say is equal, is the same. But even though they sound the same, but they are not same, because robot is a particular machines that copies and learn from human intelligence. All right. But AI is a program that reasons out. Okay. Artificial intelligence is a program that actually will look for the reasoning first. Why this happens? Why it doesn't be like this? So a lots of reasoning will occur. He learns from that reasoning, and then he will establish a solution without the human intelligence. Okay. So this is something that the differences that we have to know quite clearly. All right. So some example, like we have cleverboard, autonomous cars. Okay. Okay. Now let's move on to machine learning. You all know machine learning. I think most of us knows about machine learning. This is a very hit topic for almost coming to a decade, where people are talking about here machine learning. All right. Basically, machine learning is for a computer to learn from the data. So now you can see the traditional figure 1.1 is showing you a traditional method. In traditional method, how do we do? How we make something to learn? We will start to give all the rules. We will say that pick the object from tank or from the basket A and put it into basket B. So this is writing rules. Okay, this was traditional method. But today what we want is that we have a pool of data. Okay, you have a pool of data, and that pool of data will bring you a pool of data here. You have to establish the machine learning. ML stands for machine learning. You have to have an algorithm. You got to design this to train this data so that you can able to find what could be the best solution or how to adapt to respective changes. So this is a machine learning concept, right? So there's one question here: does machine learning helps humans to learn? So when you look at this particular diagram, okay, the architecture is still the same. That is, you're using a machine learning, all right, algorithm to learn some data, and you make some reasoning from here. And what it does, understand the problem better. So it's basically it is helping human to minimize their work. Okay, it is helping human in a way to do a quick responsive mechanism. All right, next is we're going to talk about what is machine learning, the greatness of machine learning. So it can simplify the code and perform better. It helps to solve a complex problem than the traditional one. It can adapt easily to a new data set whenever the data changes. Let's say, for example, if here we have a pool of data, suddenly some data started coming in. For example, when talk about temperature, temperature is inconsistent data because temperature changes rapidly. Okay, so temperature is not the same always. When you start to collect temperature, let's say for 24 hours, do you think that you'll be getting the temperature same all the time? Then it is something wrong, because we have ambient temperature, we have room temperature. So they changes rapidly. So whenever the temperature is changing and you are trying to monitor something, let's say, for example, you want to monitor your aircon system, your air conditioner system or AC. So how do you want to monitor that? How you want to control the speed? How you want to control the blower? Or how you want to control the cooling factor? So you only can do that by having the consistently read the data and adapt. That is called that. That is the meaning of adapting to the new sets of new data sets. And it drills down to the complex and large amount of data. So it is not looking at the surface level of the data. It goes within inside the data, even up to the precision level. So let's say if I'm writing 2.33 is, when I say, is that 2.33 is close to 3 or close to 2? Basically is close to 2. That's what the human thinks. But 2.33 can be even closer to 2.3, because the 2.33, so the last digit is also been looked into it. So this is how the data will be studied by the machine learning algorithms. All right. Now the last part of the slides today, okay, is to talk about one simple usage of um, AI, okay, that is for machine learning. What we do is that we want to detect the spam YouTube's comments. Okay, some comments that given in the YouTube, sometimes they are spam type, they are spam. Okay, so how we go about it, how we use machine learning to do that. These are the steps. First thing you must obtain the data set comments from the popular YouTube. So you try to collect all those data sets, let's say about 400 comments you collected. Then what you do, you have to do a binary classification. You all know what is binary, is 1 and 0. So if you see a spam, you label it as 1. If the data set is a spam, is 1. If it is not, is 0. Okay, then you do a data grouping. So why we do this data grouping? Because we wanted to have two different sets of data. One is the training data, the other one is testing data. So how do I do it? Divide and conquer. So we can able to divide the respective group of data, and we conquer and make it as training data, and the other one we conquer it as testing data. All right. So usually training data can be lesser than the testing data, because testing data, it can be more. It's more, the testing data is better. But you have the training data lesser, but we want to see how close it is. So training data is the absolute data, the correct data. Testing data is a data which can have a lots of importance. Okay. Apply the machine learning algorithm. So for example, one of the name of the algorithm is called forest classifier. And we also call decision tree. We can make evaluation between this forest classifier and decision tree to see their performance, and we detect to see how close this data and to identify the spam data set. All right. So I would like to end my seminar today. I hope you did enjoy it. And I also believe that the information that I shared with you is giving you some importance. And just to give you one conclusion, that when you look at the transformation in the industry system that's taking place right now, you have to change the mode of your decision to learn not to be a slave in the industry, but you have to be in the top of how to establish control or establish knowledge provider in this industry factors, because industries don't need a human to do hard job anymore. They want people to have knowledge who can able to help to bring some decision to these tools. That means try to come up with algorithms, try to come up with what they call formulas. And this is what the future is all about. And learning machine learning algorithms and also AI, it's a good foundation in order to build yourself to achieve to the target that is required at this present in time. Thank you. You may also ask me questions if you have.
Thank you, Mr. Tinaharan. I have already compiled a few questions and I put in your chat box.
Oh,
While you
okay.
are going through these questions, there are some announcements from ISDC.
Uh-huh.
Dear audience, we appreciate your cooperation today. Just to inform you that all the active participants will get certificate of attendance. We really appreciate the audience who put questions to our speaker, and our speaker will answer all the questions we have received so far. So we do not encourage our audiences to join at the beginning, at the middle of the conversation, at the middle of the session, and just put the email address and leave. No, we don't encourage this. In fact, from our coming seminars, after 20 minutes, we won't let the others to come in. So at this point of time, there is a good news from ISDC. There is an announcement we would like to share.
Hello, sir. Would you mind if I interrupt for a while? Is the trainer, sir, still there?
We'll answer your question. We have a brief presentation on behalf of ISDC. After that, you can share your question, whatever you want to ask to our speaker.
Okay, okay. Okay, go on, please. I will ask later.
Hello, sir. I have an action.
Please put your question in our chat box.
Okay, sir. Can I get this recorded video?
This video is in our Facebook page. You can get it from there.
Okay, thank you.
So on behalf of the ISDC, we are going to start a course. Name is Certificate in Artificial Intelligence. This course also will be conducted by our guest speaker, Mr. Tinaharan. A brief of this course is from Wilmington Metropolitan University, US. And this is 3 months course. There will be 12 classes, and the entire course will be a project-based learning. There won't be any final exam. The course is fast track, practical, and comprehensive subject coverage. As I mentioned, the course will be taken by our speaker. He is qualified and a very famous industry expert, who is the industry advisor for RMIT University of RMIT Australia. any working adults and the students from all the background can join. Preferably IT background. Not much previous experience is required. The price is affordable. So the certification, it is mandatory to attend all the classes and to achieve at least 70% marks to complete this course. So in this course, you will get a certification from Wilmington Metropolitan University, US, and very the latest information about AI in this industry. This is a sample certificate that the student those who will complete this course will get it from WMU, US. And the fees, of course, normally all of our certificate courses of ISDC is $125, but for these global pandemic situations and the class will be conducted by online. At the moment, we are giving some scholarships. So from first to 10 participants will receive 68% scholarship, and they have to pay $40, which in BDT 3,400 and Indian rupee 3,000. In Nepal rupees 4,700. In BTN or Bhutan is 3,000. And those who call for this to be eligible for this scholarship of 68%, the students or the audience has to be confirmed by tonight and need to make the payment by 26th of January. After this, admission is open for all. The fees would be on 55% scholarship, which is 56 USD. In Bangladeshi Taka, that would be 4,800. In Indian rupee, 4,100. In Nepal rupees, 6,600. And in BTN or Bhutan currencies, 4,100. We'll close our registration by 31st of January. All right. So we have given our admission forms in our chat box. We'll announce those 10 participants, and we're expecting all the audience interested to do this course to fill up this form so that you can get eligible of scholarship of 68%. So 10 participants will receive this. Now we move on to our speaker to get some answers. Mr. Tinaharan, are you with us?
Yes.
Okay, you managed to go through the question.
Yeah, there's quite a
few
lot of
7 to 8
questions. Yeah. Okay. So my speaker is on, right?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. All right. Let me see the chat box. Hello. Yes.
I think you answered the question first. If any other questions, please put in the chat box. I will direct you to our speaker. Otherwise, there will be noise, and we can't. This session won't be interactive. Thank you for your understanding.
Yes, it's fine.
I will write it on the box. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm looking at that question. I just lost one. Okay, wait. Everybody says it's good and this thing.
No. The question. The question actually. No, it's okay. Let me tell you the question. How can we make sure that our data privacy will be safe from this kind of innovations? Will PLC, DCS, or SCADA equipments will be replaced by the AI technologies? Number one.
Oh, okay. All right. So talking about this PLC, DSC equipments, obviously, when you look at nowadays, people have changing from Siemens PLC to Beckhoff. Beckhoff is another brand of PLC, which is why they do that, because most of the German companies have changed it, because in Siemens PLC, you can able to download the program that you have actually programmed it earlier. But for a Beckhoff PLC, the program's been protected. So when you look at the protection wise nowadays, the what you call DCS control team or the manufacturers are taking into measure, and they are aware of this what you call industrialization movement. So therefore they are also changing their controllers with also with some industry what you call AI framework into it. So therefore eventually you'll find that some PLC controller will have a self learning mechanism built in together. And also at this present in time, when you look at it, is PLC is just collecting the data, and also is used to use the data in order to activate certain auxiliaries. So therefore, we can integrate to another platform in order to do the respective AI technology in it. One of the biggest challenge when you talk about PLC and DCS is that the processor must have a good processing capacity, because this when you put in AI function into it, you need something like NVIDIA GPU processor. Without the GPU processor, it's quite difficult for machines to speculate or to inference the data quickly. Right? You need a higher processing processor altogether. Next question.
All right. While we are moving to the second question, I just want to remind our audiences, those who are confirmed for admission only fill up the admission form. We noticed from our previous seminars that those who don't interested also completed the form. Therefore, the scholarship of the 10%, some of the people were deprived. So we don't want any situation. Only you have taken your decision, confirmed decision, then only fill up the form. Okay, second question, in AI, how can we secure our data with JavaScript?
How we can secure with JavaScript. Okay, the function of JavaScripting is basically to do, we can establish some data collection, but you want to integrate in order to have, and in fact today Java, they have the modularity, okay, in order to integrate into machine learning concepts. So therefore the library are there, you can able to post it, or you can able to transfer it to a repository where you can able to collect and use it for the data analytics system. Not because what normally this data analytics system does is that it takes data from respective repository. That means you can say Excel, Microsoft Access, SAP, Oracle. Basically, these are the exchange platform that you need. So when you do JavaScripting, it doesn't seems like to be a direct solution. So JavaScripting you can use in order to do certain controls. So through that controls where the data exchange is coming in and coming from, it is into a database. So you can able to do the data analytics or the AI application from the database itself, not directly from JavaScripting. Okay.
Right. The next question is, how will we save the information in our artificial intelligence in presence ICT?
How we will save
Information
information in,
of our artificial intelligence. I think the question is not very clear.
yeah.
I suggest our audience please resend your question with a clear text. Okay, there are a few questions on this. Could you please repeat augmented reality?
As I said just now, augmented reality is a device or a system or a platform that we can able to, one example I given you just now, that if you want to make a choice of certain product that you want to use or you want to buy, right? So you need a virtual reality platform. And this virtual reality platform will give you an overview of the product before you make the purchase. So at least, for example, you want to buy certain furniture for your office, or you want to buy certain furniture for your home, because we are now depending on online purchase, and we are moving into that trend altogether. So therefore, you can have an emulation about your entire square feet, about your respective living hall, and then you can see what kind of a furniture you want to put it in, and you can self-experience virtually. Okay, and then you can actually move towards then you can move towards or buying or purchasing the respective furniture. In fact, in a travel agency also, they are using augmented reality. Before someone visits the place, okay, they will get some kind of virtual reality idea. If I go to certain part of the world, oh, this is how the place looks like. Okay, these are the places I can get my food, or these are the historical places. So at least before you make your travel plan to visit the respective place, you have some kind of impression. So this is where the augmented reality will be helpful. Okay.
Right. Thank you.
All
Next
right.
question is, in your opinion, how will AI impact application development?
Oh, in my view, it will impact a lot in application development, because today the application development is expected for to produce its own reasoning factors. So we don't more relying on uh, pre-processing application altogether. That means we are not relying only to get the respective data in a digitalization mode, or we are not expecting the data to be in a very premature. So what we want is that the data to learn by itself, and we want an application that can able to give you the upfront solution, not to have a pre-processed solution. For example, if you take some data from Google, all right, uh, if you type certain words, all right, you already know where which how many the web crawler, okay, or they call the browser crawler, will start to crawl fast and to look for the words which is matched with your search engine that you have typed in. So this is much more, the application is reliable to use and save a lot of times. Yeah.
All right. Next question is, what do you say common misconceptions about AI?
Common misconception. Oh,
Yeah.
people do understand. That's what the one of the slide I said about robotics and AI. So people always confuse between the robots and AI. They thought robot is an AI. Robot uses AI. Robot uses that they call schema. They use the respective algorithms. But algorithms itself and development of the algorithm is an AI. So AI is, as I said, is a programmed based function which can able to intercept with respective data, and it comes up with a reasoning factor and solution altogether. So that misception is there among a lot of people from my experience when I talk to people about this robotics and AI.
Right. Next is, in AI cybersecurity, how can we secure our data?
This is more like application-based question. So when you talk about cybersecurity and using AI, obviously it is most welcome technique to be used. Uh, and in fact, when you talk about cybersecurity itself, when you the processing, we are no more longer using the oldest algorithm, cybersecurity algorithm. We already start moving into a more what do you call responsive type of uh, what do you call cybersecurity algorithm. We embed a lot of reasoning factor tools inside the cybersecurity algorithm, so that in my opinion, and cybersecurity is also evolving in order to match in terms of using the AI tools.
Right. We will take another two more questions before we end this session.
Yeah.
What steps can we take to evaluate the effectiveness of our AI model?
What steps we can take to
Evaluate the effectiveness.
evaluate
Yeah.
or to evaluate the effectiveness.
Yep.
Now, this is, I could say, uh, there are thousands and millions of algorithms available. Okay. Now, it is all depends on what kind of application that we are working on. If you are talking about, let's say, certain what you call production mission testers. It depends what kind of environment you're talking about. So when you think that this respective algorithm suits or this particular AI tools algorithms are needed in order to give you the accuracy of the result that you're expecting, then it will match based on your application. So there's no specific or definite what you call answer can be given for this particular question, where it's quite vague in terms of the definite determination here.
All right. What is the difference between reinforcement, learned device, and robot? I think you give the answer already.
Yeah.
Yeah, in different form only. Okay.
Yeah.
Next question is. Yep.
Reinforcement is just you are trying to whatever. Let's say you give an input, you get an output, and that output goes back to the input again. All right. You reinforce the input again, and you come up with a when the process is evolving by itself in order to find the most accurate perception. All right. And I already told you about AI and robots.
Right. I think this would be our last question. What
Yeah.
is the difference between inductive, deductive, and abductive learning?
Inductive.
Inductive, deductive, and abductive learning.
These are the types of learning mode that been used in AI. So the differences is based on how you do classification here. So it's a matter of data classification and also how it is used in supervised, unsupervised, and supervised learning. So this is the only difference in terms of adaptive and also inductive.
All right. I think that's enough for. That's all the questions from our audiences. Dear audience, please
Okay.
leave your full name and email address for the certificate of attendance. And those who are interested for the course in certificate in artificial intelligence, kindly complete the admission form. We have sent the link in our chat box. Mr. Tinaharan, we really appreciate your time, and I think this is late night in Malaysia already.
Yes. It's okay.
Thank you very much for these wonderful presentations. On behalf of ISDC, I would like
Sure.
to appreciate and thank you for your
Sure, definitely.
presentation and cooperation with us.
Okay. Thank you so much, Mr. Suhail, for giving me the opportunity to pass over this information to a group of people who are interested in this area. And I'm looking forward to meet them also for some classes so that more things can be shared and more things can be learned together. Thank you so much and good night.
For our audience, we will be there here a few more minutes. Kindly complete the form and admission form and leave your full name and email address for certificate of attendance. We have received applications from MD Masud Rana, Monir Hussain, Monty Diameno, Rajachanna Bajaj. All the applicants, those who completed our admission form, the fees payment informations are there. You can make a bank transfer or you can use our mobile banking channel to make the payment. And this payment has to be completed by 26th of January. For the rest of our audiences, our admission will be open until 31st of January. We will commence our certificate in artificial intelligence course at the first week of February 2021. We will send a copy of information via email. We will wait another few minutes since we are receiving the email and names. And for the admissions, six applications we have received for the scholarship of 68%. Another 4 applications remaining for tonight. We will receive only 10 applications for the scholarship of 68%. We have received 7. The 7th number is MD Polash Anwar.
Sir, can I ask you?
Yes, please.
How
Professor
many
Rajesh
amount?
Bajas.
How many amount the 5% scholarship fee?
Bangladeshi Taka 4,800.
4,800.
68 is 3,400.
Okay. Thank you.
68%, 3,400.
I have to pay?
By bank or the mobile banking. You are from where, sir?
The amount, please. Exactly the amount.
68% scholarship, 3,400 BDT.
3,400.
Right.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Professor Ramachandra Bajas, Polash Anwar, these are the research. So we received total 7 applications for now.
Excuse me, sir.
Yep.
I have another request.
Yes, please.
I am not available this amount. Can I pay later?
If you have any queries, please contact our hotline. We have given in our chat box.
Okay.
Or you can email us to our official email ID.
Okay,
yep.
fine.
We'll get back to
you. What is the deadline? What is the deadline date?
Deadline for 68% is 26th, and for 55% scholarship by 30th of this January. At the first week of February, we will commence our class.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.